Matthew 27, second last chapter. I read from the ISR, the Institute for Scripture Research, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous that he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips. And sorry for that crack there. The letter J is only about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim, Yehoshua, died on a stake for the sins of all of humanity over 2,000 years ago. In a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yehoshua is Joshua, and I strongly believe that the son of Elohim's name means YahWeh is salvation. 27. And morning having come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Yehoshua, so as to put him to death. And having bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Pontius, Pontius, Pilate, Pilate, the governor. Then Yehuda, he who delivered him up, having seen that he had been condemned, repented, returned the 30 pieces of silver to the priest chiefs and to the elders, saying, I have sinned in delivering up innocent blood. And they said, what is that to us? You see to it. And throwing down the pieces of silver in the dwelling place, he left and went and hanged himself. He committed suicide, so he's in the lake of fire. Or he's in darkness of gnashing of teeth right now, because he murdered himself. And the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, it is not right to put them into the treasury, seeing they are the price of blood. So they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field for the burial of strangers. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood until today. Then was filled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him who was pierced, on whom they of the children of Israel set a price, and gave them for the potter's field, as YahWeh had ordered me. Zech 11:12-13. And Yehoshua stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, are you the sovereign of the Yehudim? And Yehoshua said to him, you say it. And as he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he answered not. Then Pilate said to him, do you not hear how much they witness against you? And he did not answer him, not one word, so that the governor wondered much. And at the festival, the governor used to release to the crowd one prisoner whom they wished, and they had been a well-known, and they had then a well-known prisoner called Barabbas. Barabbas, Barabba, He was a vicious criminal. So when they were assembled, Pilate said to them, whom do you wish to release? You say Barabbas or Yehoshua, who is called Messiah? For he knew that because of envy they had delivered him up. And as he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him, saying, have none at all to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered much today in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the crowds that they should ask for Barabbas and to destroy Yehoshua. And the governor answering said to them, which of the two do you wish to release to you? Which of the two do you wish I release to you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, what then shall I do with Yehoshua, who is called Messiah? They all said to him, let him be impaled. And the governor said, indeed, what evil has he done? And they were crying out all the more, saying, let him be impaled. And when Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but rather an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this righteous one, capital R, capital O, he knows who he is, righteous one, you shall see to it. And all the people answering said, His blood be on us and on our children. Then he released Barabbas to them, but having Yehoshua whipped, he delivered him over to be impaled. When the soldiers of the governor took Yehoshua into the court and gathered the entire company of soldiers around him, and having stripped him, they put a scarlet robe on him, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they kneeled down before him and mocked him, saying, Greetings, sovereign of the Yehudim. And spitting on him, they took the reed and struck him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they took the robe off him, then put his own garments on him, and led him away to be impaled. And as they were going out, they found a man of Cyrene, Cyrene, Shimon by name. They compelled him to bear his stake, and when they came to a place called Golgotha, Golgotha, that is to say, place of a skull, they gave him wine mixed with bile to drink, and after tasting he would not drink it. And having impaled him, they divided his garments, casting lots, that it might be filled what was spoken by the prophet. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Tet 22:18. And sitting down, they guarded him there, and they put up over his head the written charge against him. This is Yehoshua, the sovereign of the Yehudim. Yehud with a line underneath of it. I am. Then two robbers were impaled with him, one on the right and another on the left. And those passing by were blaspheming him, shaking their heads, Tet 22:7, and saying, You who destroy the dwelling place and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the son of Elohim, come down from the stake. And likewise the chief priests with the scribes and elders mocking said, He saved others, he is unable to save himself. If he is the sovereign of Israel, let him now come down from the stake, and we shall believe him. He trusted in Elohim, let him rescue him now if he desires him. Tet 22:8. For he said, I am the son of Elohim, and also the robbers who were impaled with him reviled him, saying the same. And from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Yehoshua cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, 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 or E with a half a check mark, Eli, 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 lema sabachthani. Lema is Lemah. Sabachthani is Sheb with a line underneath of it, Aqtani. That is, my El, why have you forsaken me? Tet 22:1. Some of those standing there, having heard, said, This one calls Elijah. And immediately one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. Tet 69:21. But the rest said, Leave it, let us see if Elijah comes to save him. And Yehoshua cried out again with a loud voice and gave up his spirit. And see, the veil of the dwelling place was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth was shaken, and the rocks were split, and the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the set-apart ones who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the set-apart city and appeared to many. And when the captain and those with him who were guarding Yehoshua saw the earthquake and all that took place, they feared exceedingly, saying, "Truly this was the Son of Elohim." And many women were following Yehoshua from Galilee, attending him, were there watching from a distance, among whom were Miriam from Magdala, and Miriam the mother of Jacob and Joseph, and the mother of Zabdi's sons. And when evening came, there came a rich man from Ramathaim, Ramathayim, named Joseph, who himself had also become a taught one of Yehoshua. He went to Pilate and asked for the body of Yehoshua. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given, and having taken the body, Joseph wrapped it in clean linen and laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. That'd be so cool. Hewn out of the rock, and rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb, and went away. And Miriam from Magdala was there, and the other Miriam, sitting opposite the tomb. On the next day, which was after the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees gathered together to Pilate, saying, "Master, we remember while he was still alive, now that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I am raised.' Command then that the tomb be safeguarded until the 3rd day, lest his taught ones come by night and steal him away, and should say to the people, 'He has raised from the dead,' and the last deception shall be worse than the first." So Pilate said to them, "You have a watch, go safeguard it as you know how." And they went and safeguarded the tomb, sealing the stone and setting the watch. So I'm not sure if anyone's seen the Passion of the Christ. I have. Quite a few pieces in there are not true at all. Like when they had the two robbers side by side, and one was blaspheming him while the other one was like asking for forgiveness. That never happened. They both blasphemed him. They both mocked him and made fun of him until their death. It just goes to show. And people are like, "Oh, it's based on a true story." You'd be like, how much of it is actually like based on the true story, and how much of it is just made up? Because a lot of it in movies is literally made up. Like there was this one story. I'm not sure if I've said it before, but I'm gonna say it again, or for the first time. I don't know. There was a story of dogs that they had out in the Arctic or somewhere up there, and the movie went that they couldn't take the dogs and the supplies, so they left the dogs, which I think is ridiculous. You can always come back for the supplies, but they decided to take the supplies anyways, and in the movie they made it back, and all but one dog died in the movie. In real life, all but one dog lived. In the movie, they said that they all broke off the chain, or most of them broke off the chain, and that they all survived, but almost none of them, except for one, broke it off the chain. The rest of them died just laying there. It's disgusting. The movie is not at all. But they're like, "Oh, it's based on a true story." Well, the true point of it is they did have a base out there, and they did do research out there, and they did have dogs, and they did go back, but serious key points were badly misguided to make it seem more kid-friendly. When in reality they had literally murdered a whole team of dogs because they wanted some paper. That's savage. And I think almost every single movie out there that says based on a true story is basically like that. All the key points are wrong, but certain little pieces here and there that they make it so they can say based on a true story. It's sad. And anyways,